What is up, guys? Tommy from SoFlo Jeeping here. So a lot of us have heard a lot of misconceptions, especially from people who are trying to sort of give advice to people who are looking into buying Jeeps. And a lot of time these people are just going off of what they told them or what they like. They don't actually have first-hand experience. So I'm going to go over, like, for some of you that may be looking into a Jeep, going to go over some of the common Jeep misconceptions and sort of explaining them / debunking them. So hopefully you guys find this informative and hopefully it helps some people out. So let's get right into it. So the first example of this is that Jeeps flip easy. So this is hands down the most common misconception about Jeeps. I mean, yes, they're like a relatively top-heavy SUV, but it's like right now it's 2021 now? Yeah, 2021. There are safety standards in place. The government doesn't just let manufacturers build whatever they want and let them onto the street. The vehicles have to meet certain safety standards. Chances are, if you were buying a new vehicle, it's going to be relatively safe, especially a stock height Jeep. So my Jeep, I'm on 40s, Dana 60s, lifted about 4 inches. I'm caged, short. I'm a two-door, short wheelbase, and my tires break loose before I roll. I've reached that point. I've gone into turns harder than I should have, and my Jeep slides before I roll. As long as you have sway bars on there, and like, unless you're like just going crazy 8 inches of lift, you really don't have to worry about tipping your Jeep over on normal city driving. I've never tipped my Jeep getting it on angles, rock crawling, or I guess I have, but it wasn't really like a full flop. It was just like a V-nut sort of thing, but that's besides the point. Normal driving, I promise you, you won't flip that Jeep if you tried. So the next common misconception, can't speak today, misconception about Jeeps is that they're unreliable. So my guess is that this sort of came from the fact that Jeep guys are always fixing stuff on their Jeep. That's not necessarily because the Jeep is unreliable. That's sort of more so what we do to them. I beat the crap out of my Jeep. I repair a lot on my Jeep. But when you beat the crap out of something, I don't care if it's a Toyota Hilux. If you beat the crap out of it, you're going to be fixing stuff. That's just sort of, it goes to the territory. If you drive your Jeep like a normal human being on like light wheeling, off-roading, it's going to be just fine. I've had a 3.8, which is supposedly the bad motor in the JKs, with 180,000 miles, and that thing ran fantastic, especially if you get into the older engines like the 4 liters. Those motors last absolutely forever. The 3.6, so I would recommend avoiding the 2012 and early 2013 360s. Those you'll have trouble with. It. Later on, 3.6 is a fantastic motor. You'll get 200,000 miles out of it. As long as you take care of them, you'll get 200,000 miles out of them with no real repairs. And even if you do have to repair something, they're so easy to work on that it's really not that big of a deal. Next common misconception is that Jeeps get death wobble. So this one kind of bothers me a little, because if you have death wobble, it's because something else is wrong. And it's not really because it's a Jeep. It's more of a solid axle thing. If you look, like, there's guys with brand new F-250s getting death wobble. It's not because it's a Jeep. It's, if you have a solid axle and your parts start to wear out, you're going to have death wobble. If you start feeling that slight little, like, shimmy, address it. Don't let it go. As long as you stay on top of it, and especially like a stock Jeep, it's going to be really hard for you to get death wobble on a stock Jeep. But if you start lifting it, you start getting on funky angles, you don't want to correct your steering geometry, just keep an eye on stuff. Keep an eye on wear and all that. Like, normally the cause for death wobble are ball joints, rod ends, or track bars. And all of those, like, track bar bushings are cheap. And more often than not, it's just a loose track bar bolt. Ball joints, $200 for some Terraflex ball joints, and you'll never have to worry about ball joints again. Rod ends, a couple $100 for your rod ends. And you honestly won't have to replace those unless you're using your Jeep for off-road use, or you're lifting it high and putting that stuff at weird angles. If you just want to buy a Jeep to commute, don't be stressed about the death wobble. You won't get it. Yeah. People make it out to be more of an issue than it really is, so I wouldn't worry about it. Now, the next Jeep misconception is, I guess not really a misconception, it's more of a misunderstood thing. Jeeps get bad gas mileage. First thing I'm going to say is, it's an SUV. Compare it to other SUVs. And nowadays, they really don't get that bad gas mileage. So I have a JK that's 2015, 3.6, even on 40s, As long as, like, if you go big and tire, yes, you're going to take a hit on gas mileage, but as long as you re-gear it, you'll be fine. I'm on 40s and I still get about 15 miles per gallon. My sister's Jeep, bone stock, 2-liter JL. She's getting 22, 23 miles per gallon out of it. You compare that to, like, my mom. She has a Ford Explorer. She gets the same, if not worse, miles per gallon than my sister's Jeep does. Especially if you get into one of the eco diesels. I've heard of people getting as much as 28, 29 miles per gallon from their eco diesels, just normal driving, city, highway combined. So if someone says, oh, if you have a Jeep, you're gonna get like 8 miles per gallon, that's not true. Even my Jeep, which is just about it's as crazy as you're gonna be daily driving, I'm still getting 15. If you're gonna go crazy with it, re-gear it. And other than that, you'll be fine. They don't get as bad gas mileage people make them out to get. That sentence made sense. Now, next thing that people love to throw around is, oh, Jeeps are so incredibly noisy that you're gonna have tinnitus every time you drive. That really depends on how you have your Jeep. My Jeep, I have soft half doors and a soft roof and huge 40-inch mud terrains. Yeah, it's loud. And I pulled out my carpet, it's loud. If you have a hardtop with full doors and carpets, it's really not that bad. I drive my sisters around all the time, and the road noise is really bearable. The worst is like the wind noise, just because of the aerodynamics. But especially if you just like put $100 into some like kill mat or something underneath the carpet, you'll be fine. It'll be just as loud as any other vehicle on the inside. If you're worried about being able to like make a phone call on your drive to work, you'll be able to, as long as you have like a hardtop and full doors. And if you really want to go that extra mile, put some sound deadening and you'll be solid. Now, next thing that people love to rag on Jeeps about is how plasticky they are. So, I'm not gonna lie, my JK is very plasticky. The JLs and JTs, they're honestly, they're plasticky, but they're not that bad. But at first, when I first got my JK, I was like, ew, what's all this plastic? But now, honestly, owning it, I've learned to kind of love the plastic, especially once I've started wheeling it, because when you're wheeling, you have your window down because you want to see what your tire's doing. Your tire's going to fling stuff up, and I just wipe it off. So, I don't know. Sort of, don't let the plastic scare you away, because one, the newer ones aren't terribly as plasticky, and two, it can be kind of a blessing. So, I'm honestly kind of happy with plastic. And honestly, like, if you really want to get tight and cool about it, so right now I'm in an F-250 Platinum, pretty much most beautiful truck that you can buy. It's not mine, but like, yeah, you got me. It's still like, it's got pretty much the same amount of plastic that a JL or a JT would have. So don't let the whole plastic thing scare you away thinking you're going to be driving a Fisher Price car. It's not that bad. Next thing I hear people say is, oh, Jeeps are so expensive. So, I mean, well, right now, current used car market, I'm not sure at what point you'll be seeing this, but current used market post-COVID is everything's expensive. But just like everything, you just have to look around a little bit. Yes, Jeeps hold their value insanely well, so the used market is going to hold a little better than other vehicles. But that's not to say that Jeeps are crazy expensive. People say you need $60,000 to buy a Rubicon. That's not true. Right when they first came out, my uncle was able to get one for $40,000 out the door. Again, look around. Don't be lazy. About 6 months ago, I bought a 2008 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon on pretty much brand new 40-inch trail grapplers, 4-inch lift, control arms, really, really solid build, and I got that thing for like $8,500. Granted, it was higher mileage, but you get where I'm going with this. Don't let price scare you away from buying the vehicle you want to buy. Look around, deals are out there. Check Facebook Marketplace, check OfferUp, check Craigslist, check local used car dealerships. You'll be surprised by what you find. They really aren't that crazy expensive. Next thing I hear people say about Jeeps is that taking the doors off is illegal. I've heard that a couple times. No, it's not true. Unless you live in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania does actually have a law saying you need doors, but they're kind of fighting to get that changed. But 49 states out of the 50, it is perfectly legal to remove your doors on the Jeep. Some states require 1 mirror, some states require 2 mirrors, some states don't require mirrors. But to be safe, just run a mirror. I have like the little ones that drop into the hinge, so I just throw those on in 10 seconds when I take my doors off. Or you can get the A-pillar mounted ones and never have to worry about that. But anybody who says that it's illegal to take your doors off either lives in Pennsylvania or doesn't know what they're talking about. So if you have a Jeep and you want to do it, have fun. Take those doors off. Next, and that's Jeeps are slow. They're not a sports car. I'm not even going to try to say that. But keep in mind, again, you like try to compare them to other V6 crossovers or other V6 SUVs, because that's what they are. They're pretty comparable to the rest. And that's if you just go with a 3.6. If you go with the 2.0, I'm not going to lie, the 2.0 with the 8-speed, or even the 3.6 now with the 8-speed, that 8-speed makes them quick. Like the 2-liter with the 8-speed, I've had some experience driving that thing around, and that thing, it'll throw you back. That thing's peppy. Even the 4.0s, they're torquey, they feel like golf carts. Like if you're running like an undergeared automatic, like an undergeared like 4-speed auto with 37s, yes, it's going to be a dog. I'm not even going to lie to you. But the newer Jeeps, especially like the Eco Diesels, the 2-liter, anything with the 8-speed, they're not that bad. They're actually kind of on the peppier side, if I do say so myself. Now, the next common Jeep misconception that I absolutely hate, and every time somebody says it, it just, yeah. And that's if you modify your Jeep, your warranty will be voided. So I've heard that said from a lot of people who have Jeeps and are afraid to modify them until their warranty's up. Which, to me, that sounds insane. Like, that's for, like, if you have an extended warranty, that's 5 years. That's 5 years not being able to do what you want to the vehicle you paid for. But that's not true. Look it up. There's an act called the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. I believe it made it all the way to the Supreme Court. But pretty much, to summarize the whole thing, it states that a dealership cannot void your warranty unless that modification caused the issue. So I had a dealership try to pull that on me. So back when my Jeep was still under warranty, it was a transmission issue. And they tried to void my warranty because I had lifted it. And they said, yeah, I modified it, that voided the warranty. Luckily, I knew about that act, so I pretty much immediately told them, you can't do that, Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. You literally can't do that. And you could tell that they sort of knew what it was. They were just hoping they'd get away with it. But yeah, they fixed my transmission. They gave me a new transmission because they had to. But if you have a Jeep or you want to buy a Jeep and aren't sure about being able to modify it, you 100% can. Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, they can't deny you warranty unless they can prove it caused the issue. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and hopefully some of you found it helpful. Those are just 10 things that I've heard a lot in the time I've owned a Jeep, and each time I hear them, I'm like, that's not really accurate. So wanted to make a video to address each one separately, and hopefully it helps some people out. We are super close to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully, if you're seeing this, we already hit it. But like the video if you want to like the comment on the video. Comment on the video if you want to comment on the video. I tried to respond to all of them. Subscribe on the video if you want to subscribe to the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.